All right, I am back. This should be part, I don't know, close to part 6 or 7 at this point to this video series of making an IRC bot from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and get started then. I have the chat open. I'm just going to set myself to streaming right now. So if anyone wants to type anything, you can. But here we go. So tonight, my main goal is to still work on the lexing of my parser. But I'm going to do a little refactoring first of my tokenization process because after thinking about it last night, what I want to do is I want to actually tokenize this into an actual colon. We're going to keep the prefix, but I'm also going to want the space afterwards. This way I can get into breaking this out a little bit better for my parser. So in case I ever want to look for any specific like string of tokens, then I can. So I'm going to go ahead and do that refactoring. So I'm going to leave the colon and CRLF tokens for now. I'm going to get rid of the this token here. I'm going to keep the string literal for now. I'm definitely going to keep the integer, and I will keep the character, but I'll just add the literal to the end of that. I don't know if I need the @ symbols right now, so this is what I'm going to be using for tonight's video in my refactors. So let's get started then. Okay, so I already have a function for isSpace. I'm going to create one for isColon. So just to continue with the naming conventions and everything. So static bool isColon. I don't want to pass in the character on this one, so I'm just going to do the lexer. So wow, my cat is all over me tonight. So IRC lexer, just call it lexer. I want to change some of this around too. I think what I want to do is I'm also going to add like a char for current character, and that way I can pass it into these functions here instead. So let's do a little refactoring. So then down here, I'm going to change the signature to that. Let's see, lexer, pointer, lexer, and this is going to be lexer current character. Cool. Similarly, I'm going to create that for the isColon. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because if I want to change out the representation of this, like if I wanted to use the actual like ASCII value, I could. But for now, I'm just going to use whatever, whatever is inside the single quotes here. So isColon, okay, so it's not being used. So instead, what I'm just going to do here, I'm just going to pass in just the lexer. So previously from last night, the prefix static function here is going to return like a string literal in a way, but just token prefix. I'm going to still keep that functionality, but instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to break apart its individual components. So currently when I did this last night, it would start with the colon, and then it would be like chat dot free node or something.com, right, with a trailing space here. This would be my prefix. Well, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to break it out. So this will be give me a colon token. This will be my string literal, which would be a prefix, and then I'm going to have a space at the end right there. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Currently I have the current character set right here, so I may want to try to abstract out the or extract out the actual physical character movements of my parser here. So what I might do is I might create a private function for that as well. So what I should do is well, I'll do that in a little bit, I guess. So currently we have the current character. No, I want to do that now. Sorry, my bad. I'm just going to create a function called advance. So I think what I want it to do is I want it to return nothing. I think I just want it to be void. So 2 underscores advance. And then what this is going to do is it's just going to take the pointer to my Lexer. Wow, I don't know what happened there. And then I'm going to have this be in charge of actually knowing what the actual character is. So current line. So I have to think about this. The advance is pretty much going to be like, it could be used in a loop. So I might instead want to return something from it in that case, but probably not. I probably would not want to use that as like a part of the conditional piece to the to any sort of while loop. So let's see here. We have current line, so we set up the line. Really, this could all be within that advanced function, but I might actually move it there. We have some special functionality here to handle an old character. So okay, so I'm just going to delete this part here. We're not using the current line anymore, so I want to get rid of that. And I don't believe I'm using the current line. Okay, so I am using a pointer to the current line. Okay. And then in my advanced function here, I'm going to say if Lexer current character greater than the, Lexer current character should equal the, well, we'll just start off with the basics. So the current character is going to be the current line with the Lexer current character. So not character, sorry, current column. And here I'm just going to advance it by nothing here yet. So here's where I would do the advancing. So Lexer current column plus plus. So that should take it to the next character. We do need to handle the situation if the Lexer current character is current column is greater than or equal to the Lexer line length. Then what we're going to do is we're going to say Lexer current character equals probably some null terminating thing here, and then return to break out of that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to let the probably the get next token handle the actual line pieces to it. So essentially I'm handling this case right here right now by giving me that invalid token. So let's see here. So what I would want to do is if parse colon or sorry, if is colon lexer, then what I'm going to do is if the current well, I don't know if I want to do a look ahead. The problem with the is colon is that there's two spots where the colon is present. It can be used in params, or it has to be the first one of the string. So I'm just going to explicitly check for the first position here. So that way we know that we're going to get. Well, actually, no. What am I doing? If colon, right? So I'm starting to confuse parsing with lexing. So that's the reason why I'm I just tripped myself up right there. So really, what I need to be doing is doing this. Toke equals allocate token. It will be IRC token colon with the value of. So the value should be toke value dot character should equal the lexer. Current character, which would be the colon. We'll pass in toke value and return the token. It should be as trivial as that, actually. Now I'm going to work on the actual prefix here, right? So I've just parsed the token, or tokenized the colon. So now I want to worry about the prefix. Now, currently I have it set to return a token, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather this be a Boolean, and then I'm just going to grab the well, the problem is that I'm going to have some sort of a line. Oh, I need to think about doing the advance here, sorry. I'm just going to go ahead and advance that. Okay, so the problem here is that I have it returning a token already, but I need that string literal. So instead what I should have it do is return a token value. But I think, or what I could do is I could pass a reference to it. I don't think that's allowed in C. I know in C++ you can, but I think what I would do is I would do some sort of a union token value. Is that what I called it? IRC token value. Yeah, IRC token value. Pass in a pointer to that. I'll just call it toke value. Then I can delete this here, and then I should be able to dereference that. Well, no, hold on. We're doing a pointer, so I would need to actually do the one of those bits. Instead of returning a token, I'm going to return true or false. So in this case, I would just return true because it was able to parse it. Right now, I don't have anything that's not going to not parse it, so that's okay. I'm just going to remove this and change that to bool. Parse prefix. I'm going to update that. Put a space in there. Cool. So sweet. I still need to update the method here. Sorry, function here, and then pass in the token value, which is currently set to a static variable. So I'm going to take the reference of that. Okay, and then toke equals allocate toke, which would be, in this case, it would be the IRC prefix. Okay, and then we're just going to pass in the toke value, and then we're going to advance the lexer. So it should behave like that. I'm just going to remove that bit there. Well, actually, I'm going to remove that current column update right there. Well, I'm going to need that at some point, but in this case, I'm just going to do advance for testing purposes. That's the only reason why I have that there. Okay, so we're going to start parsing a prefix. We're going to try to get a string into it, a string literal, while not space. So it's going to go all the way to the end where there is a space. I'm going to allocate a string for that. Here I would do a string strn copy, but I need to make sure to advance the lexer. So I'm going to do that. And then instead of doing lexer current line, current column, what I would do instead is, oh, excuse me, lexer current character. And then we're just going to set the values of everything. So the buffer is going to have a null terminating string at the end and then return true. So this should all be great with a grain of salt. In this case, I have a returning false or null, but I would do false. But we already know. So at this point, like, actually, I don't even need this anymore because the current column, we already know that we don't care if there's. What we care about is like the previous token, but we care if that's a colon to denote a prefix. But really, this could be just be parsed like any string literal. But the reason it's a prefix is because of that colon and the trailing space at the end. So it would be nice if I could track what the it would be nice if I could track what the previous token was, but I don't know if I should put that in the lexer because every single time I do get new token, I would have to refresh that. So it'd be like some sort of a look behind. Well, what I could do instead is I could say at this point the current character should, or the previous character. So what do I want to do about this? It would be nice to have some sort of look behind for sure, but I'm not entirely sure if a lot of parsers would implement it that way. This is kind of cheating right here. I don't necessarily want to say, greater than 0. That's kind of obvious. I guess I could, since the prefix is always prefixed, so the prefix has a prefix of the colon, then I guess I could say that do a look behind on the current character to say that it's not a colon. But it would be not, well, I think what I could do is I could create a function that's devance, so it will go -1 in the line, so I can then do the is colon check just to make sure, or I could handle it up here somehow. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be useful to do look behinds. Let's see what the language says. I mean, there's really nothing much to the prefix. It's just like a string of characters at this point. So now, if I started tokenizing these pieces, then I could piece together, at least from the parser perspective, what the prefix is. Maybe instead of calling it a prefix token, maybe I just keep it how I had it originally, and just make it a string literal. The problem with that, though, is that later on, if I do that, so if I make this token the string literal parsing token, then what would end up happening is that down below there's a case where spaces can be used. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so this trailing piece right here allows for a space. But our token should not include that. Well, man, I don't know how I want to do that. Yeah. I think I might just do a look behind. It's probably the easiest solution in this case. Again, this is where parsing and lexing kind of blur. Is, you know, how do you make your tokens? Okay, so I think what I want to do is I think I will stick with the look behind, or maintain the probably maintain the previous token. So because the thing about this is that I want to make sure that I'm strictly just getting the prefix and only the prefix. And the only way that happens is, well, again, oh shoot, well, I forgot again that some of the messages also contain a colon before it gets to the string literal here. So the string literal either needs to end at a CRLF or a space if it's not the last piece of the line. But I guess in this case, what I would do is I would have the parser do a look ahead for that to grab next tokens, and then what I could have that do is push to a stack, and then when it's done, when it gets to the end, I can pop all the way back. But here, I don't necessarily want to do that. I think I'll take a quick distraction, see if there's any comments on the Twitch thing here. Nope, no one's typing. Sweet. Okay then. Yeah. All right, screw it. I'm just gonna do that look behind, because why not? Void devance. Oh, there's got to be a better name for that. Go backwards, maybe. Oh no, this is where I like to use the thesaurus. Thesaurus, and then go here and look up the word advance, and the antonyms should be last, later, after, behind. Oh great, this is pretty horrible. Oh boy. Prior, synonyms for prior: foremost, in front, previously in the lead. See what's leading. What are the antonyms? Nope. I wonder if de-advance is actually a word. De-advance. Definitely not. Okay. So what I would do then is I'll just keep it as such. I'll just call it de-advance. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. Now we have to be careful that we can't go past the 0. So if it's that, we're just going to do nothing, just return it. So the current column is less than or equal to 0. We're going to return that. Otherwise, we're going to do current character minus minus. Ooh. I wonder if I should do like the current character plus plus before I do this. Because if I do de-advance just once, it's going to set the current character to what it's already at and then decrease it. I guess that's fine. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to call de-advance, pass in the lexer. Then I can say if current column is greater than, so then I can say, I can get rid of this part right here because it's not going to be greater than 0. I don't care about it at that point. So if the current column is 0 and it's not equal to that, we're going to return false. Otherwise, we're going to do this jazz here. We're going to okay, so the problem here with the is space lexer is that we're just passing in the lexer at this point. So what I would do here is I don't necessarily want to de-advance it. So instead of checking for, or I don't necessarily want to advance it because I want to find out how many characters I have. So I might cheat a little bit. And keep going until it is a space. So we're just going to get the lexer current line, and we're going to call this just column, and then I'm going to make that as an int. Okay, we're going to set that to 0. Oh wait, I feel like I had a trick here. Oh yeah, check this out. Boom, buff length. So I'm going to do that, and then not equal to space. So it's going to advance, keep looking, cool, and then that ought to do it. Because then once we get to that space, it's already going to be at the length that we want the string, and this part. And then here we're just going to do the copy over. Then we're going to advance the lexer. Probably, I'm trying to decide if I need to do it. No. Yeah, I want to advance the. I want to advance it real quick, so I'm going to change this to 1, and then I'm going to advance it. Well, no, yeah, because I de-advanced it, so then I'm going to want to advance it, and then buffer length we're going to start off at 0 now. No, we want to do that at 1 because we've advanced it. So actually, better if I did this. Lexer current column. Okay. So we're going to start off. So if it's at 0 or 1, it's going to start there. So after this branch, we're going to advance it, and then okay. So this should all work okay. And then finally, what I want to do is I want to do if parse or is space. I'm probably going to rename this function real quick. It's prefix, okay. Is space, and then we're just going to pass in the lexer. Going to go ahead and advance it after the fact, and then we're going to do IRC token space. Okay. So in my main function, I'm going to go build it real quick, make sure no errors. Oh yeah. Did I name it? Did I rename that as prefix? Did that get renamed? Yeah. Undefined simple devance. Oh, devance. There we go. Devance. This is not being used. All right. Devance. Cool. Let's rebuild that. Sweet. We'll go back to main function. So only if it's the prefix should I get the actual line. So if I run this, what I should be seeing is just this part here, no space and no colon in front of it. So let's see if that works. I'm just going to go ahead and click run. Uh-oh. All right, so already we have a little bit of a problem. With our advance. Probably shouldn't have messed with that. I ran into this exact same thing yesterday, as a matter of fact. Let's see here. Shouldn't print that out, so let's go ahead and see what we got. Before we get to the advance, all right, so is colon, go ahead and advance it by 1. Let's make sure that happens. Put a couple of breakpoints there. If it's a space, we're going to leave it alone. I need to make this a toke value equals space. Toke value dot character equals space. All right, and we're passing in that toke value up above, so we already have that. Okay. Let's run the debugger. All right, so first line. Oh, I skipped the colon. We can't have that. Unless my advanced function's broken. Just gonna fix this real quick. Okay, so the problem is excuse me. The problem is that it skipped that first condition. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and break it, or stop it and then start it again. See if my breakpoint gets hit here. Okay, so current line, yep, that should be good. If I look at the Lexer, the current column is 0. Okay. Current line starts at that, so that's all right. Line buffer has things in it, perfect. So if I step into, so here, the current character is not set. Ah, well, there's the problem. I need to advance it. Advance it by 1. So let's try this again. Okay, so I get in there, step into, current character is going to be set to the colon, perfect, return that token, nice. We're just going to continue execution here. Token value is 58, sweet. It's going to check here, return false, go here. Okay, so we're going to devance. That worked. I checked to make sure the position was at, so it didn't return false. Awesome. We're going to re-advance it. And we're going to go here. Oh boy. 13, 14, 15, 16. I think it's supposed to stop at 18. And it does. So let's make sure that the toke value is set to our string. Oh, it has the space in it. Oh, we don't want that. All right, so I don't know about you guys, but I love debuggers. I think they're the best. Let's see here. Where am I getting that space at? Let's go ahead and break here. And then I can inspect it a little bit more. What are the hardest things of programming? Off by 1 errors is in the top 3 of that list. So I might need a -1 on that buff lane. That's probably what's going on here. So it won't until next execution get to this space. So I might need to subtract 1 from it. Oh, I have it go by, well, oh, I have a +1 there. I wonder why I had that. That don't make sense because, right. Oh, that was probably the problem. Like I said, off by 1 errors. Let's run the debugger again. Yep. Oh, no, nope. There it is still. Okay, so. Yeah, so we have 18. I wonder where it's getting the. Sorry. Something got caught in my throat. I wonder where that 18 is coming from. I wonder if it's counting the colon. It's starting the while loop a little early. Because I should have the card free node. Let me copy this value. In Sublime. And we can, get rid of the quotes. Then we can just count this. So starting at character 1 all the way to the end, there's just 1 space. So 19. So here's 18. But really what we should have is 17. So I think it is count. So I think my advance might be a little off. Because when I devance, I'm back at that character. and then when I advance, so really what I need to do is probably do this. And then fix that here too. That was probably my problem. And then let's have a look up here, because then at this point I don't need to advance. Well, I still would, but what I should do is I probably should set the starting point of the advance to well, I should set the always the first line here. So what I should do is I should do lexer current character equals the lexer current line at position 0. Always. So when it gets here, is colon? Yep. Is prefix? Sure. And then is space. So that should do that. Let's go ahead and run this again through the debugger. Ugh, still getting that space. Screw it. Oh wait, no. Wait. Maybe I need to do the -1 here instead. Because I am doing that advance, so I am advancing it past the point each time. So let's see here. Okay. Seems to be right. I guess the /0 translates to code x05. I don't think it should, but that might be right. I'm just going to go ahead and click stop here, remove the breakpoints, and see the output that we have. Oh, wow. Man, I'm definitely not doing something right tonight. I'm going to go look at, oh, here we go. Oh, okay, so I generally think your approach to lexing is quite too much, but I don't know. Leaving you my approach in Go, unfortunately. Okay, so I will take a look at that a bit later, Sprithy, but thanks for pasting that in there. And EMADDN, which library am I using for IRC? I am not. I'm kind of writing my own. So, yeah. Sprithy is kind of right. I am kind of going a little bit overboard here, but this is more instructional, if anything. The reason why I'm probably hurting myself a little bit is because I want to make the parsing a lot easier. I could forego all of this, but I'm not going to. So, but I'll take a look at Sprithy's solution later, see what he came up with. For all I know, or he or she, sorry. For all I know, it's probably pretty good. So we'll see. But anyway, back to my current problem at hand. I need to get rid of that space at the end there. shouldn't be at character count or character column 18 here. Here it should be +1, so let's go ahead and verify that. Okay, so it starts at 1. All right. That's good. And at the end of that, though, the 18. Right. So I know that after I'm done with this video, I'm probably going to figure it out. That's usually how this goes. Being on the spot is always a little intimidating. Man. So we're going to start at 1, go all the way through to the space. That should give us 18, so that's 17 plus 1. Yeah, string literal. We're going to copy that character over. It's the current character. I don't know. It keeps advancing. So I do +1 in the advance here. So I get the current column and I add to it. So if it's at 1, I'm going to add to 2. If it's greater than the current line length, I'm going to give that back. Actually, I should do that. Okay. Where am I? Okay, so what's the buffer length? So if this is 18, then it's going to go 17 times. Well, it's going to go 18 times, but it's going to be starting at the 0th index. So by the time this reaches 18, this will be position 17. But the question is, what will this be positioned at? That's going to update. It shouldn't go over the loop one more time, but let's go see. Yeah, I still get that space there. Well, now I'm curious if that actually is a space. I'm pretty sure it would be. I like to inspect that. So we'll do string literal at position 18. All right, and what's the string literal at position 17? Wow, is that? $32. I can't tell if that's a space or not based off the debugger here. T. It must be a space. Yeah, so it's grabbing it. I need to minus it by 1. Or wait. Probably should have just done that from the start and call it a night. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so let's take a quick gander at that output there. So what I should be seeing is nothing but the, I don't want to see any other characters other than the prefix. So let's see here. Okay, so I am seeing other output at this point again. I need to get rid of that. So I got rid of my space problem. Next I need to get rid of this. So going back to my Lexer here. I wonder if, I wonder if this is being called, well, it has to be called multiple times. Probably my statement here is never returning false, so maybe I do want to keep how I currently had it. And that might fix it. Which it certainly did not. Yeah, because the current column would be greater than 0. That returns false. Then it's going to go skip that. There won't be a space. I probably need to advance it if I do that. Otherwise, it's going to be a forever loop. So let's go ahead and do that. And yeah, I made it a forever loop, so that's what was going on there. Sweet. Okay, finally. So now what I should be seeing is if I go here now, if I go here, what I'd want to see is if I'm just going to do some testing. So if I do IRC token is token type. Actually, I'm just going to copy and paste some lines here. So what I want to do is I want to look for a colon. Then I'm going to go ahead and just print that and continue. Well, after I deallocate that token. I'm going to go ahead and print. Now I'm going to keep that in S. So this will be T token colon. I'm just going to do a space after that. Well, yeah. And then here I'll just do a printf. I don't know about you guys, but I like testing things, so sometimes I'll go out of my way to do that. Okay. Otherwise, I'm going to take a look at that. Do a continue here. I don't even need to do the continue. Well, yeah, I would, because I'm doing that print line at the, darn it. Okay, so token prefix, token colon. So we'll keep that the way it is, and then we're just going to do this one space. And I'm just going to type in space. So what I would like to see is I would like to see my output in between my tokens. kind of. I might be going a little overboard with that print end there. We'll do the print end after every space, which actually might be a lot because we do have the message of the day coming up. So colon, space, colon, yeah. So yeah, we're getting our stream of tokens. This is what we're going to use to parse. All the prefixes are starting to come in now. Sweet. Glad to see that working. All right. So, okay. Going to go back to the comments. String parsing in C. Yep. Yep. String parsing is always fun. I prefer C++ or an object-oriented language when I do string parsing, mostly, just because of the complexities involved with character arrays. But I don't know. It's kind of fun to Sprithy's point. This approach I'm using right here for the tokenization could definitely be expanded to work with very more complicated languages. But I like to abstract it out. So I'm going to next get working on the actual parser. So that way I don't have to deal with this main function here any longer. I'm going to actually, break this thread apart and try to get the lexer in there, and we're actually going to do the parsing. So at that point, someone asked in a previous video if I was going to do an abstract syntax tree or anything like that. The answer to that question is no. I'm actually going to do a stack approach where as tokens come in, once I reach a token that I kind of want to do, I'm just going to be pushing to the stack, and then when I get to a certain point with the look ahead or something like that, then I can just like pop them all back off, and I'll have what I'm looking for. That's the kind of approach that I think I'm going to try going forward. But until then, I want to get another, before I close tonight, I kind of want to try to get another token in here. So I actually want to get a command token. So I'm going to go ahead and create another token piece here. So IRC token command. Now I do want to validate this against some sort of lookup table. So this part will be interesting. Or what I can do is in the parser I could say that this is like some sort of string or integer literal, but I'd be looking for that after the prefix, or if there's no prefix, then I know I have a command, because there's nothing special parse-wise about a command. If we look here in the spec, it's just one or many letters, or a 3-digit code. So what I could be looking for in my parsing is I could be looking for a string literal or an integer literal, but either there's a prefix or not. So it's either at the start or after the prefix. Now I don't want to do a look behind on this command. So what I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to designate it as a string literal. So what I'd be looking for is as far as tokens are concerned, I'd be looking for a colon, prefix, space, string literal, or integer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to remove the token command there. So we'll go back to here and do bool is string literal struct IRC lexer pointer lexer, and then the token value once again. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and implement that down below. It's going to be very similar to the prefix parser, not parser, tokenizer. So I'm not going to do any de-advancing. I'm just going to be looking for character, character, character. And if it's a character, then I'm just going to go ahead and parse it. So I think, or not, dang it, I keep saying that. Keep going on with it. So, so essentially what I want is pretty much all this with the true statement, return true, minus everything else. So it's essentially just going to be a copy of a paste of a function here, except we're going to get rid of some of the more specific functionality. Now it's going to have no spaces, so the moment we come across a space, yeah, shoot, well, I forgot that spaces are okay, but only after a command, but they're not a part of a string literal. In this sense, a command will have no spaces in it. Gosh, I would hate to I hate delimiting. I hate doing that, to delimit on some sort of character, but this is a very white space heavy language we're dealing with here. And by white space heavy, I mean like we're kind of like we kind of have no other options other than to delimit on the with the space, because well, even in normal languages, you sometimes don't have a choice. If there's nothing special, like, I don't know if that would work, but it didn't break my IDE either. But I could skip the white space, but how would I know to end once I get to a parameter? Well, it'd be easier if there was quotes, right? So if I had like a quote, then I could say that it is actually like a string literal. I think for now I'm going to wait until a space, just because I think I'll handle the parameters with the trailing at some other point, but it's the very last thing that can happen before the line break. So I might be able to get away with not dealing with that for now. So I think I'll just do that. I think I'll wait until I hit a space, which would be the starting of the parameters. So I'll just parse it out as a string here. So let me get back to the code. Are you guys able to see my screen swipes? I can't tell if you guys can. No comments. All right. So go ahead and deal with this. Should be it. Nothing too special about that. So we'll just do is if string literal is what I'm calling it, even though it may not be passing the reference to the toke value. Go ahead and just essentially copy and paste. Let's see here. Change that to string literal, and there we go. So that ought to take care of that. This will just gobble up any arbitrary number of characters up until a digit. So if we see a digit, then I want it to stop. So I think I kind of see where I might be going wrong. Alternatively, what I could do is I could just have like, but then I come back across the same issue here. I could be dealing with tokens instead this entire time. You know, just taking it one token character at a time, and I could just be like, while not something character, then go ahead and continue on. Yeah, while token not letter, or while token letter, continue it on until it can't go any further. That's what I could do here. So while is letter, so the spec kind of has this defined for us. Says any octet except for null, CR, LF, space, and colon. This is what the NOS PCRL FCL must be. It gives me some octets I can check against. Now, I've never done this in C where I've actually compared against a range of octets. So I think for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to not do that and just compare against like normal characters. So I'm going to be not picky on whether it's capital or lowercase, even though I suspect that all the commands are capitalized. So, but I'm dealing with literal. So, so while the current character is greater than or equal to A, and less than Z, or capitalize it. So let's make sure I go ahead and oops, forgot the less than or equal to. Or it's going to be capital A and capital Z. Then we're going to buffer length it up, and then that should be a-okay. Let's go ahead and do a quick test. Okay. So it shouldn't validate the colon at all as a string literal. So, all right, let's see here. So it's working. Ish. We get up to a space here. Here's a command, this 004, but it's not stopping at a space. Well, interesting. All right, I think I'm going to call it quits for tonight. I'm over an hour now, and I'm sure you guys don't want to watch me debug something that you guys probably find trivial. So that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Sorry I didn't do much this time. Tomorrow I'll make it a little bit more interesting, or not tomorrow. I think I won't be back until Tuesday of next week. That's when I think I'll pick this up again. In the meantime, I will try to work on my lexing a little bit. In fact, I may do some refactoring on the side, just because I don't think you guys should probably have to sit here and watch me try to debug problems all the time. So, well, with that said, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. See you next time.